Okay, okie doke. Oh, I had my little cable plugged in there. I shouldn't have been. Um, all right, just waiting for YouTube. If I had a nickel for every time I'd say that, have maybe $3. But anyway, good morning, everybody. It's Alex. This is Handmade Game Dev stream day 22. Um, and let's get started. I hope you brought your drink. I've got my morning matcha, and we will all take our first sip of the day. Mmm. I actually am pleasantly surprised. This is like Aya brand matcha. It doesn't look very good. And it's like a little cheap for ceremonial grade matcha. But it's like what they have at Whole Foods that I could get at short notice. And this one actually came out not too bad. It's like pretty good foam. Excuse me. Pretty good sweetness. I do think this is probably pretty well suited to convert into your favorite latte type beverage. But it actually ended up being pleasantly surprised when I opened up the can this morning. I was like, that looks pretty bad, but then it was not bad. Anyway, we are still stuck on this design problem of how to actually get everything working kind of the way I want it to. There's enough foam in here that I will save. Okay. But so, as once again, we have this problem of a few things. Number one, um, what the hell are we actually trying to do here? And I think it was a good realization to be like, hey, what we had before was basically just one jump in like a platformer level, and we can tune that one jump as much as possible, but that is not going to tell us whether like a whole level is fun or not, right? Um, we also have continue to have this problem of like how do we make any of this stuff like realistic-ish? Any of these accelerations or values and stuff. Um, and so I went ahead and I grokked the relative or the masses of a bunch of objects and things that we might want to have that would should come in handy here. Um, and my thinking, and I just like literally just like was thinking through. So if we were to do so we can represent most of these, I think, in 64-bit floating point max double biggest integer that can be stored 1.88 e to the 308. So that's pretty good. That's like way more than we need, right? Um, 1.8, 10 to the 38, 10 to the 308. Um, yeah, because like the observable universe here is, excuse me, 10 to the 53. So we have way more than enough wiggle room here. Um, and I think probably the biggest thing we're gonna be doing is supermassive black hole. For our like baseball themed level. Um, and then probably down to like uh something like that, like a like you ten kilogram or smaller, right? But probably mostly like in this range, and then in this range for our like big mass objects in the level. Um, yeah. Actually, let me like order these. This is purely wasting time here, but hey, it's my stream, not yours. Okay. So look at that. So yeah, these are. We'll say that those are all kind of like about the same. But yeah, this should give us like. Unfortunately, I find it quite hard to visualize like this is like a log or exponential scale here, basically, right? Uh, just thinking of it intuitively, like I like know, hey, this one this one must be a lot freaking more than that one. But it's like, oh, it's only nine more digits. But nine digits is like a lot, right? This is like um a billion times bigger than that one. This one is than that one. And then yeah, like here we're at how many billions of billions. Um, enough to call some some bullshit here. Anyway, so I had an idea of like, hey, why don't we like try to DSI unit this and then like or remove this minus 11 somehow just like scale everything so it's easier. Uh but actually did like I think if we do that then we have this problem of when we try to resolve collisions and figure out the acceleration the resultant forces from just like from masses hitting each other, they will be like like scaled way off if I move this g constant basically to like so that my gravity resolution just kind of is a little bit more clean. I think it will not play as nice. I think it's not like just like a freebie I can do across the board to simplify everything, unfortunately. Um, but it is like it's something I could play with. Uh, and that's sort of the problem. I think is there's a lot of things that I can kind of play with. Um, and again like my stance is if you're in the realm of just like blindly parameter tuning, you probably do not understand the problem well enough to know like what to go for, right? I think like that the tuning optimizing something must come after you have something concrete that sort of is workable or is pretty close to workable, right? And there are obviously exceptions, like in the case where, like, hey, we did have that case where the normal force um that we were getting was like some certain value that was producing that like stickiness effect and like just um and giving it our spaceship enough thrust to overcome that was enough to see like the all of our sort of gravity and collision stuff resolution stuff kind of work correctly maybe. So there are instances and like when you have like um this much math going on like there probably are degenerate scenarios you can have when if things are just not right. Um, but you know, oh well. Anyway, anyway. You'll notice we still haven't typed any code today. Uh, you'll notice that. And it's because I think I'm still kind of at like a point here where I am trying to build up my understanding of like what the hell is even like possible with like the effects of gravity on a stellar scale. And um I think if we're going to be fair, like hey, like here are like some fundamental problems with if we were trying to make this a realistic depiction of how gravity works. Um and it's that gravity is gravitational effects at the stellar scale are really slow. Um they are uh they are, I think, um it's hard to observe them at a very like short time scale. They are they act as like, huge long trends, right? Of hey, after like a couple billion years, gravity is going to pull this amount of cosmic dust into a galaxy, or like a galactic mass, right? Um, and it's not really telling you, hey, moment to moment, um, like this is kind of like what's going on. And even if you think of like a space flight is not measured in, no, actually we've got some time today. We've got like another half hour. Um, but like how's it going, Half Woof? Um, like a space flight is quite long. Like we're talking, um, like years. Excuse me, years or like decades, centuries, right? Um, and that's not even like, an at like relativistic speed. It's still really slow because everything is so far apart. Oh, nice, man. I hope that turned out well. NES Game Jam with the yo-yo game. That's pretty cool. Um, so like, and this is, so there's like a lot of things that are not real, that are not like real scale here. Um, and like, just like thinking about it, like this, the stellar scale is just so big, and this was a problem with like trying to conceptualize something that could be like an open world game. Oh yeah, I saw Itch was down this morning. I was like trying to, I've been trying to look for other games that are doing something like this to try to get inspiration from. But then Itch was down. I was like, oh crap. um, and so I have like a couple things on my list. I need to go play Kerbal Space Program at some point. I've worked in aerospace, or been in aerospace now for like 8 years. 8 years. And basically all my friends all have been trying to get me to play KSP for that whole time, and I still have not done it. So I've got to get on that bandwagon. Um, yeah, we'll do. If you send me the link, I'll take a look at it, man. Whenever Itch is back up. Um, let's see. But the like, I was trying to conceptualize a game that was more similar to Aether originally, before I kind of made a pivot mentally toward more a puzzle game. Um, and Aether, if you don't know, this is like a game from Edmund McMillan. This was like a little tiny, I think, game jam game that he did way back in the day. It wound up in the basement collection. But essentially, it's like it is like sort of this like a 2D space exploration game. Oh, let me kill the music. Where you have like a grappling hook and you're going around the solar system. Um, let's see if we can skip through this. Uh, and like it sort of has this cool atmosphere and vibe to it, of like you're click and dragging. It's sort of like my like boost idea, but with the grappling hook here, right? And so you have this sort of like 2D level, that you're trying to build up the momentum and the height to break out of. So it's not just momentum, and it's not just gravity. It is like primarily this grappling hook, actually. So that's where it is sort of different. Is that like, okay, yeah, like gravity changes like once you make it out here, and then you have to kind of understand like that. And then at a certain point, like, hey, you have enough distance away and momentum where you don't need to be doing this anymore, and then like this is kind of what you do. And I thought that was cool. And this was like just a little tiny game I played, like however many years ago, that really stuck with me. Um, And I thought, hey, we can do that, but we'll cut the grappling hook and we'll turn it the focus more toward the gravity, right? But it's I think it's hard to do so. It's hard to like really have that kind of make sense. Uh and that's where we are. And I don't think yeah, and also of course there's some there's some Edmund Macmillan childhood trauma stuff in here, right? Um Uh, but yeah, this is kind of the inspiration. But again, real space is a lot less dense in terms of content. It's huge, and like if we were to take realistic values for any of this stuff, the player is going to be waiting for light years. No, not waiting for light, but was going to be waiting for decades for like their move to resolve, and that's not fun. That's not interesting. Um, so that's kind of like the problem is like how much like crunch down can you do um to make it work like as a game, to make everything like literally just be able to like fit on like a screen before it stops working. And if we I guess we can like just launch KSP. I don't know if there's like we'll be able to like see if we're gonna be able to get too far into here. um let's see. I've gotta kill my mic or my audio. um but like this, what the hell, I've had some problems where some games like do not play nice on my new monitor because it's running at too high a refresh rate. Um, oh, there we go. Um, but like how do you solve that while you know I want like the player to be visible on the screen. And if you look at like a lot of like if you look, I was like looking at this at like gravity simulators. If we were to consider, hey, like our player is, we'll just pick this moon Miranda here. Um, like you can't freaking tell like what Miranda is doing. You can't tell what like it's not big enough. Like this bounding box, this circle is way larger than that moon actually is. um and so in this simulation, right, um like this is the only thing you can actually see is Uranus because it's so big. um but it's like this is the size and scale of the things that we're working with. um and it's just not workable. And like this is a moon too. Like we're talking about like we're not even at that level. We're at the level of like we have like some little um tiny spacecraft, right? Like this. Oh, I guess this one is I didn't play with this one before. Why is it like aspect locked like this? It's weird. um Oh, I guess we are the planet here. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. Oh, that is pretty dope. That's cool. You can see what the. Oh, I guess no, we're Juno. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty dope. Um, yeah, look at that. Oh, no, that's awesome. Uh, but like, you know, we're talking about trying to squeeze all of that into a like one screen puzzle. um and that's just like totally, I think I have, yeah, here we go. I think I have like a save file from, I like launched this game once and then quit out because like the menus were giving me a headache. Yeah. uh yeah, we're like not even close. I have to like go build a rocket first. Can I turn on like cheats or something? uh Really quick. Cheats, please. Cheats. Advanced tweakables. That sounds right. Uh, yeah, I don't freaking know. Whatever. But Yeah, and here lies the problem. So if you start squishing everything to be like the same relative sizes, even if you keep their like relative masses, uh, the same as like kind of like what is realistic of like, hey, this one is like a billion times bigger than that one, or let's say like the Earth is 10 to the 18th times bigger than whatever this SpaceX shuttle that I picked. Um that's a lot. 10 to the 18th is a billion, right? It's just a lot. A billion is what? It's like a quintillion. I don't think that's possible. 10, how big is that? 10 uh so thousand, million, billion, trillion, quadrillion. Oh no, it is 10 quintillion. Um 10 quintillion. There are 10 quintillion masses in the earth. Into the 25th. Yeah, yeah. Um it's a lot. It's a lot. And so, you know, like this is the scale of crap we're talking about here. And so like part of the like one like idea I had was, hey, what about if we like go down to like the Planck scale? Um actually we'll go on Claude today. Um let's see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Masses of subatomic particles. What the fuck is this? Oh, quarks. Hmm. I don't know what that means. I know I've heard of a muon. Yeah, I think this is kind of where we want to be. So like electron, uh I don't even know how to read that because the this is like Planck scale mass, right? So I think with Planck scale masses, um I thought a photon would be one actually. I don't know. Let's do psi. Let's see. Let's see. No. No. And yeah, please. Yeah, so the I don't I yeah, I don't know I don't know quarks. That's where my understanding stops. But I know okay, at the left-hand scale, right? This is an electron is 10 to the negative 31, and this is attracted to a proton 10 to the negative 27. Okay? Protons, neutrons about the same mass. But they're 1,000 times more massive than an electron, right? But like at 1,000 times more massive than an electron, the relative distance I think is, and this is I read Six Easy Pieces over the weekend, so I got this good picture here. So if you were to blow up a um an atom, if you were to blow up an atom to be the size of like a room, it's like 800 square feet, right? Like you would have the nucleus, the protons would all be like still like a pinprick in like the center of the room, and then your electrons are like invisible, and they're all at like the edges of this giant room here, right? So even like actually like what are the um sizes of electrons and protons? Protons. and assign also instances from center. Like like these things are like at the quantum scale. These things are, I think, more like closer in size, right? Oh, actually, this maybe not. I mean, they're like this one is 100 times smaller than that one. Electron is 100. Whoa, what is this? What? What the hell? Hmm. Okay, whatever. Charge radius. Oh, interesting. So that's not even because yeah, that make kind of makes sense. Um, smeared over the orbital. Yeah, and then you like can't really tell because like an electron is also, you have some like Heisenberg uncertainty, right, of like where exactly in the orbit it is because it's kind of like pedal orbiting, like stuff in like our game has been here. Um, like okay, board radius. So and like this is like 10 to the negative 11th, right? So if you were to blow that up, um like the is sitting proton like ball is sitting at the center, right? And the electrons are these things are all 10 to the negative 18th. Yeah, so that's 7 is what? 7 is like 10 million. So there are 10, they're like the electrons are like 10 million electron unit lengths away from the nucleus of the atom, right? That's not any better. That's not any better than what we're than at the stellar scale of like uh oh god, it's like man, it's hard. It's hard. These fundamental forces are working over such like relative great distances, which is the really cool thing I think about them, right? Of they are like all this crap is so far away from each other, but is still acting on each other, right? But like that part, I don't think I can convert into like a freaking or like there's gotta be there's like some crazy amount of crunch to like get that to go fit on a screen. Um, and so that's why I've got a couple of games here of like other games that do puzzly or gravity and puzzly type stuff to get like some um inspiration from. But like if you just look on Steam, like most of the things that are really doing like this realistic gravity or uh if or like space simulation, they are working at like a faked scale or like it's depersonalized, right? And that's kind of not really what I'm looking for. Yeah, no, this is like very nerdy. Like, but this is the like I think to make the game about gravity at this like incredibly nerdy level of like if I need to know 10 times more about gravity and about sort of like the physics behind it than the person playing my game or it just like won't work. If you look at like this one, like Universe Sandbox, like also it has this scale, and like I actually really appreciate this stuff now because I'm seeing like, hey, this is what's going on in here, and this is why like this stuff is actually quite hard and interesting. But you also have the ability to like zoom in and out, and that kind of I think works if it's just purely a simulation and like okay, I can like point edit, like add little masses and crap to the scene, do whatever. um but it's very different when you want to have like a little player character that you're controlling around here, um, and like hey, that sense of scale and scope is really cool and really beautiful. And like, hey, like we were just looking at that in that web browser one. Um, oh God, what is this crap? Uh, this is definitely a bot. Goodbye. Um, oh, God damn, the bots really throw me off. Um, like there is some beauty and there is something really interesting with that and with appreciating how big the scale of all these things is and like like the scale of the universe, the scale of like traversing like through this gigantic thing. I think that is really incredible. um but like it does not quite work with this constraint of it all must fit on a screen. And that's why I think like most games like just fake it, right? Or they're cheating. They're like not really doing gravity, they're doing gravity fields. Like this game, V is all, you have a gravity field and it's just 2D platformer, but you can just change the direction of gravity, which is cool, right? And that's why this game um worked and became one of these like big like original indie games, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. And like in like Outer Wilds, I have not played this game. Uh, it's on my list here. But like I think you are like in the middle of it, trying to like float around, and you're at like the human scale. I assume the planet is not. Yeah, yeah, of course. No, they always try to get me to add them on Discord. I'm like, that is ridiculous. But I think that's like, um, it's like because once you're at that level, like you've doxed your like some personal account, and they can just keep like pinging you. Um, and then like maybe they can like tailor it of like put like a chat bot on the other end so that it like seems more realistic. I don't know what like the thinking is behind it, but it's just like bizarre. They like all try to get me to add to what Discord. Um, but like there's no way that Outer Wilds has a realistic you know like uh scale of what gravity is, right? And what's that other game? The other stupid space game? Um, I'll know it when I see it. I'll know it when I see it. Uh Fuck. What the hell is this game called? It's that one that like everyone got mad at when it came out, and then oh, No Man's Sky. There it is. Uh, yeah, actually, I will install that too. If there's like any chance of like someone having done something like this or something that I can draw inspiration off of, like that's what I need to like be understanding. But like yeah, No Man's Sky as ostensibly is some kind of like realistic scale universe, right? But it's obviously not. Um, like there's not any possible way that it could be because there's just not enough like data. Yeah, like that's just too much data to put onto a computer. Um, but they managed to fit it, and it's by faking things out, right? It's by faking out like the size and scale of a lot of stuff. um and like there is some level of faking it that I will have to do to to get this like something that meets my requirements here. um but it's just like what level of faking it um can we do before it starts to just become too detached from reality, right? And that's like where I as a very novice designer here, I don't know. And where I'm tempted, again to like go back to the well of like, hey, there's a bunch of tech stuff that I can still do, and that these things are like very, I like know how to do them, and I could figure out and like get into this game engine, whatever the hell it is, like the ability to like do some easier um level serialization and then like visual editing and like tune some parameters, uh fix some problems with the underlying like simulation and rendering stuff, uh add some helper stuff of like those things actually probably would help um if I'm at the parameter tuning stage, right? And like and like at some point sound effects have to get their way in there, but whatever. uh but like all of those things like would conceivably will help me close this loop, but I'm like a little cautious here because I don't want to keep using hey, I have to build up the tech more as an excuse to avoid doing making game design decisions, because we're still not at the point where I think I can like say I've proven out if this is a workable um game or not, right? And that's like constantly what the problem is. So, so where does that leave us? Um, so I'm at the point where I'm just like reading a bunch of like physics textbooks and trying to understand some of this stuff. Um, this is like taking the place of doing like game engine work right now for me. In terms of my time, I'm still trying to do this, and I'm still, hey, we're on stream right now, trying to like think it through. Um, but like because like there are parts of making a game that are not just typing at a keyboard, right? And I think that those parts actually are the hardest, have proven to be the hardest thing of like, um, especially with this game, like because like it's just like I don't know. I have not found a thing that is close enough to it to base off of. Like if I were to go back to just making a Vampire Survivors clone or whatever, something stupid to clone some other game, like I know how to do, like I think I know how to do that. And I think that is like a a path um that has like a very set endpoint of like I could figure out how to make that type of game. I could figure out I kind of wanted to make like a Sokoban style game. I could figure out how to do that too. I feel, but like a novel, this is like a not more novel type of design. And it's one at least that I have not played games that are exactly like it before. And that's where I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really cool to go down this path. I'm learning all this interesting stuff about being on like, at least for me, more at a frontier of the design. And like there's maybe something more interesting or beautiful in being at that spot. Um and like, hey, because it's hard to like, the reward for figuring it out and like actually creating a beautiful game out of that design is maybe a lot higher than just like creating Vampire Survivors clone or like V clone number 669,000, right? Of like there are so many of these things, and part of like this project is codenamed Escape Velocity, not just because like, hey, that's the game, is like achieving escape velocity and like fighting against gravity, but also it's some sort of metaphorical attempt um to lift off from mediocrity in terms of like stupid side projects and come up with something that is so fantastic, and so great that it has this momentum to, and like inherent like interesting part of it to propel itself forward into like the to some really awesome space. But doing that is is a lot harder than just cloning an existing design. So I think that's enough yapping for this morning. I'm gonna go get ready to go to work. Thank you for joining me today. Is on this kind of unfortunately no coding stream. Thinking though, there's a lot of thinking going on and like trying to reason through some of this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like it's going to be like trying to implement some stuff and building up the intuition for what is possible to implement or not. So we'll continue at that. Be back here tomorrow for some more as we try to get something good out of this. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Haufwurf, thank you for joining me, and I hope your game is awesome. Send me that if you send me that link to it, I'll take a look at it for sure. But for right now, I gotta go get ready for work. So